Thank you.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Good afternoon, Co-Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon, Deputy Ministers in the platform who have joined us.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon, our senior officials from the Department of Defense, the Secretary for Defense, if he's here, and our generals. Our sincere appreciation to our support staff from both Parliament and the Department of Defense. Today's meeting, or let me start by saying, let me start by thanking you, honorable members, for making yourself available at a short notice for this special meeting of the Joint Standing Committee on Defense. I also wish to thank the department for its prompt response and for availing itself to brief the committee within tight time frames. Your presence today underscores our shared commitment to ensuring that Parliament effectively fulfills its constitutional oversight responsibility regarding the employment of the South African National Defence Force. This meeting has been convened to enable the committee to discharge its responsibilities in terms of Joint Rule 156 subsection 1 of Parliament Joint Rules, which requires the committee to report to both houses on the employment of the South African National Defence Force by the President of the Republic in fulfillment of our international obligation in defense of the Republic or in cooperation with the South African police services. Meeting today also ensured compliance with the committee's own internal procedures on the consideration of the presidential letters of employment. The committee will today consider one presidential letter tabled in Parliament on the 3rd of July 2026 concerning the employment of the South African National Defence Force in support of the South African Police Service to maintain law and order during the planned nationwide marches relating to illegal immigrants. Following the formal proceedings, members will also receive a short briefing on the committee's preparation for the Defence Industry Lekgotla, which will take place from the 20th to the 22nd July 2026, and in which the committee will participate. Honourable members, we will, our agenda is as flagged here. We've dealt with the opening and welcome. Let me say you are all welcome, and the meeting is officially open. And let's go to item number 2, which is apologies and Nandipa.
Good evening, Chair, co-chairs, the deputy ministers, and everyone else on the platform. There's an apology from the minister who is in France for the Delville Wood ceremony for the fallen SA soldiers. And there's another apology from Mr. Ebekulu. He's traveling, so he says he will have bad network to connect. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Committee Secretary. Let's go straight to the third point, which is adoption of the agenda. May anyone adopt the agenda as reflected here?
I propose adoption of the agenda, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nihas. Can we have the seconder, please?
I second, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much. The agenda is duly adopted. Let's go straight to the business of the day, which is the briefing of presidential letter on extension of employment of South African National Defence Force under Operation Prosper. I'll hand over to the ministry, the deputy minister in the platform, Can you please introduce who's going to do the presentation? Deputy Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chairperson, honorable members, and senior officials of the department. Firstly, I would like to apologize on behalf of the Secretary for Defense, who has just received a call to attend an emergency matter at his home. Having said that, the department will make a presentation led by the Lieutenant General Sangweni. Chairperson, before the department takes the committee through the presentation, I wish to place one important matter on record.
Yes, Deputy Minister.
The National Defense Force. Hello?
Yes, you can proceed.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm saying the SANDF response whenever the Commander-in-Chief authorizes the employment of the SANDF. Our soldiers do not determine when they will deploy. They execute lawful instructions in fulfillment of their constitutional responsibilities. However, one recurring challenge continues to frustrate the department. While announcement operational requirements commence immediately, the release of necessary funding by the fiscus often does not occur with the same agency position. We cannot simply withdraw soldiers from an authorized deployment because funding has not yet been released. Such a decision, as we all know, would compromise national security, undermine the authority of the Commander-in-Chief, and embarrass the state at a time when South Africans expect the SANDF to fulfill its constitutional obligation. At the same time, we cannot continue diverting funds from other already constrained programs to finance authorized deployment. Such an approach is neither suitable or rather sustainable or consistent with sound financial management and exposes the department to adverse audit findings. We cannot afford further audit queries arising simply because the department had to reprioritize funds to execute a deployment that had already been authorized. Chairperson, it is my respectful view that this committee should engage with the Portfolio Committee on Finance, together with the Ministry of Finance and the National Treasury, to develop a sustainable funding mechanism for authorized SANDF deployments. Once a deployment has been authorized by the President, the corresponding funding process should be activated without delay. Our soldiers should never be placed in a position where uncertainty over funding affects their ability to execute their constitutional mandate. Finally, those are my introductory remarks. I now hand over to the Secretary, the Chief of Joint Operations, General Sangweni, who will take the committee through the presentation. I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. Deputy Minister, before General Sangweni comes in, your concern is noted, is recorded. This cannot be a recurring challenge, as you say, and we have noted all what you have mentioned here, and it's very important, General, as we make a proposal as well that we've got to this committee need to engage the Portfolio Committee on Finance, the National Treasury, in order to deal with this recurring challenge. So, your concern is noted, General, and thank you very much. General
Thank
Sangweni.
you.
Uh, Good afternoon, Chairperson and members of the committee and Deputy Minister. Chair, I confirm, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
You are audible, yes.
Thank you, Chairperson. I've been tasked to present a briefing to the Joint Standing Committee on Defense and Military Veterans on the Presidential Force Employment Authority of the SANDF deployment of prosper illegal immigration. We just took a decision that to separate the number similar or rather different deployment under op prosper. This one we use the term op prosper illegal migration. With that, Chair, allow me to raise that in your agenda, it indicates that it is an extension. This deployment is an extension. I think it is just a mistake, Chairperson.
Okay. It's
I'm
noted
trying
there.
to-
General.
I'm trying to
Move the slide.
yes, Chair.
Okay. Nandiba, are you able to assist the general? Nandiba?
Yes, Chair. If we can stop sharing, then I can share.
So I must stop share. I've stopped sharing. Thank you. Can I proceed?
Yes, General, you can proceed.
The aim, Chairperson and members of Parliament, is to brief the Joint Standing Committee on Defense and Military Veterans on the Presidential Authority for the deployment of the SANDF under Operation Prosper for required heightened security measures across the country. Chairperson, you will see that there is a term contingency that is in bracket. You will see it almost in all the slides. Here we want to impress that this deployment, its approach is a contingency, meaning is to be ready at the shortest possible time to respond when required, Chairperson. Furthermore, we are saying the security situation related to intended protests and possible violence was gaining momentum, which might have resulted in a surge in criminal activities nationwide. This concerning trend has been further aggravated by a recent and noteworthy increase in illegal immigration perpetrated by disgruntled citizens across the country. The SAPS and other government departments and civil society organizations, e.g. the NGOs, had presently been managing the situation. Given this complexity of these circumstances, a whole of government approach was required. The announcement by various groups and interested people for an organized countrywide shutdown on the 30th of June 2026 required government intervention. This necessitated that the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster, the JCPS, to have a contingency to intervene should the situation become dire and uncontrollable. Chairperson will take note that the security cluster did not necessarily plan to attend to the situation. The situation, the security cluster was guided by intelligence, where they'll be able to say in this area or in this area, the situation is getting out of hand. And that's why us as the SANDF, we remained on standby and not deployed from the beginning. Chairperson and members were saying subsequently, the National Joint Operations and Intelligence Structure was tasked with orchestrating an integrated multidisciplinary intelligence-driven operation on affected areas in order to prepare adequately. A requirement came forth for a need for the deployment of the SANDF on standby to support the SAPS and safeguard the infrastructure of the country as a contingency. Furthermore, Chair, we are praising the committee to say the President has authorized, as you are aware, the employment of the South African National Defence Force for service in cooperation with the South African Police for the prevention and combating of crime and the maintenance and preservation of law and order in the Republic under Operation Prosper. This is in accordance with the provisions of Section 201 to sub-alpha of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa of 1996 and Section 19 of the Defence Act as amended. The deployment of the SANDF is part of the security cluster effort to assist the SAPS in maintaining law and order in the country during the planned marches by South Africans protesting against the prevailing concerns regarding illegal immigration within the country. This slide, Chairperson, just appraise the legal provisions for this deployment. The deployment of the SANDF is planned for a standby posture as a contingency to respond quickly for any eventualities or when eventualities emanate. Furthermore, Chairperson and members of the committee, we are saying, confirming to the committee that a complement of 3,405 members of the SANDF have been deployed and or was authorized to be deployed across the country in cooperation with the SAPS to support and assist the security cluster in the prevention, combating, maintaining, and preservation of law and order across the country. The deployment will be for the period of 28 June 2026 to 11 July 2026. Chairperson, it must be understood that the soldiers that are authorized to deploy for illegal migration are not part of the Prosper gangsterism and illegal mining. It is a deployment on its own. We are raising this because it might be misinterpreted with the current Prosper of illegal mining and gangsterism, and this other one purely as a contingency for illegal migration possible issues. Furthermore, Chairperson, we are indicating and confirming that the expenditure that has to be incurred for the deployment of the deployment period of 14 days amounts to 54,603,000, which is broken down to compensation of employees as well as goods and services. The funding for this deployment, Chairperson, will be handled as an unforeseen expenditure within the overall Prosper allocation, as the Deputy Minister Olumisa had indicated. Chair, furthermore, we are just confirming that The National Assembly has been duly been informed by the President, as well as the National Council of Provinces has been duly been informed by the President on this deployment. This is the end of the presentation or the briefing, members of Parliament. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, General Sangwin. Honourable members, you have had the briefing about the deployment, which is not a continuation of Prosper, as the general is saying. It's a deployment on its own. But members, let's engage the presentation. I'll take hands for clarity, for engagement on the briefings. Anyone can raise your hands if you want to engage the presentation of by the general. I see Honorable Piso. I see Honorable Harding. I see Honorable Nihas. Okay, let me start with Honorable Piso, then Honorable Harding, Honorable Munyai, Honorable Nihas, then we'll follow with Honorable Kostel. Okay, let me start with you, Honorable Noah.
Good afternoon or good evening, Chairperson, honorable members, deputy ministers, and the staff of the committee and other participants in the meeting that I might not know who they are, but may I pass my greetings to everyone on the platform. Chair, thank you, General Sangweni, as always, presenting a comprehensive or straightforward report regarding the matter at hand. That is very much appreciated. Chair, my question is in relation with, I see that this perhaps it's a presentation that merely just inform us about what has been planned. But now, is it possible, or it will happen, that there will be further update or report that gives us an insight of this contingency plan about matters of deployment in terms of places where the number that has been indicated here, so that before they take position where they will be deployed, we should be assured that things are all in place. And as Deputy Minister Red General Olumisa has indicated, that this sometimes it puts them under pressure because it's an instruction that normally will not be accompanied with the necessary expenditure when implementation starts. So I feel that the presentation is good, but there is still more information that perhaps we need to be updated on, if it is not ready or if it will still come. But is there such a plan that perhaps going forward we will be updated with or appraised with? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noah. Honorable Harding.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, colleagues, and everyone present. I would like to also thank General Sangweni for the presentation. Chair, I think we need some clarity. The presidential letter authorizes the deployment until the 31st of July. The planning as well as the budget has only been done for the 11th of July 2026. I need clarity. What is going on here? It's black on white. Presidential authorization ends at the end of the month. Presentation very clearly, it ends on Saturday, and the budget then is also then also done because it's only planned until then. We need clarity on this, and I think perhaps the clarity should also go wider. The Minister of Police yesterday referred to Operation Prosper 2, which we as a committee know nothing about. Now, I don't know whether the illegal mining and gangsterism Prosper focus has now got a new dimension, a new planning, and a new emphasis. And I think it's, Chair, we should get clarity on that, because a lot of confusion was then raised after the comments of the Minister of Police about Operation Prosper 2, and many people believe that we are actually now discussing Prosper 2, which is actually confused with Operation Prosper illegal immigration. So we need clarity on that. Then, having said that, and seeing that we, according to the SANDF, and not to the presidential letter, coming to the end of the deployment within 2 days, and knowing, as we've seen in the presentation, that the SANDF was actually on standby. So the question, how many of the 3,405 members that were authorized were actually deployed? Where were they deployed? What operational tasks have they done? How did they perform? And what were the measurable outcomes in the support of the SAPS, obviously? And then, obviously, we are coming to, according to the SANF, to the end of the deployment. If we then just look at the 54 million, how much of it was then expended? Well, would be expended by Saturday. Perhaps I should then add, if the difference in interpretation, the mistake lies on the SANDF side, what is the contingency plan if the President insists, according to his deployment letter, that there should be further deployment of the SANDF anywhere during the 20 days that follows after Saturday? Then, Chair, something that we've asked in the past many times in where we have deployments, international as well as internal, about the readiness. And throughout, we've received assurances that the SANDF is ready, and for the deployment, everything is in place, everything is in order. But what we saw then at Fort Ikapa, Chair, you will also recall, actually contradicted that. So the question I have here, is there any assurance where these on standby troops were actually deployed, that they were properly accommodated, properly equipped, and properly supported throughout the deployment? I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Harding. Honorable Nihos?
Oh, I thought you said me. Okay, it's fine.
Honorable Nihos?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was also thinking that it was still going to be the Honourable Munai, but that is fine. Let me first of all thank Lieutenant General Sangweni for the presentation that he had given us. And let me state immediately that while the Economic Freedom Fighters supports all the lawful and necessary measures to preserve peace and public order, the two documents that we have to consider today, which is the letter from the President and also the presentation that we have received from General Sangweni, raise profound constitutional, procedural, and also financial and operational and strategic concerns. Chair, once again, we are confronted with a late arrival of the letter of the President. The deployment was from the 28th of June, but the letter is dated only the 30th of June, and it only reached Parliament on the 3rd of July. There's also the late arrival of the detailed briefing from the department, which we only received last night. And there are serious concerns that we have about the discrepancies between various issues raised in the letter of the president, the most significant one already highlighted by the Honorable Hutton, that the president's deployment letter talks about the 31st of July, and the PowerPoint presentation presented to us today talks about the deployment coming to an end by the 11th of July. The deployment of 3,405 SANDF members, therefore, starting on the 28th of June. And our committee has, in the past, previously, very strongly raised concerns about these late notifications. Chair, it is unfortunately a pattern that continues. Now, the briefing correctly notes that the situation why the SANDF troops had to be deployed was relating to the situation that was aggravated by a noteworthy increase in protests against what is referred to as so-called illegal immigration and the reaction by disgruntled citizens. The briefing also confirms that the SANDF was placed on standby as a contingency. The word contingency kept on popping up throughout the PowerPoint presentation. It also states that these soldiers are not part of the gangsterism and illegal mining deployment, therefore Operation Prosper, as we have previously considered that deployment by the president. Now, Chair, while the economic freedom fighters totally reject xenophobia, Afrophobia, and the violence that accompanies these protests, they are symptoms of significant state failure on our borders and with regards to the dysfunctional Department of Home Affairs and the way in which it deals with immigration. The briefing itself admits that the South African Police Service and other departments are supposed to manage the situation, but falls short of doing so. On the financial side, the briefing states that 54.6 million will be handled as unforeseen expenditure, and this is for me really confusing, within the overall Operation Prosper allocation. Chair, this raises serious questions. Why is this deployment not being funded from the whopping 600 million that the government specifically allocated to address the challenges presented by March and the marches and associated instability that followed? We need an answer on this issue. While the EFF supports this deployment, we do so with a heavy heart, because what we see here is a pattern that is developing at the price that we are paying is a constitutional undermining of our constitution and our democracy. Chair, there must be some decisive action by this committee on these issues. We must strongly condemn the persistent late notifications of deployments and also the late arrival of this PowerPoint detailed briefing that we received today. And we must demand that the executive must clarify for us why we continue to face these repeated failures and how they are going to stop it. We need a full explanation of why 54.6 million rand is being treated as unforeseen expenditure within the overall Operation Prosper allocation. I will conclude, Chair. But there is also, from my side, taking up the concerns that the Deputy Minister, Major General retired Holomisa, raised about the way in which this funding is happened. And why is it not drawn from the 600 million specifically allocated to address the challenges that was presented by March on March? We must demand a full reconciliation of all the Operation Prosper funding streams and a confirmation that this expenditure has not compromised other critical defense functions. And we must affirm, and this is critically important for us in the Economic Freedom Fighters, Chair, that the SANDF and internal deployments must remain exceptional. They must remain time-bound and subject to rigorous justification. We feel that we're falling into the trap of these deployments now becoming a common thing that keeps on happening all the time. Chair, we must stop managing symptoms with soldiers, and we must start addressing the root causes through competent governance, proper anti-corruption measures, and proper radical economic transformation in this country. The issues, and I conclude with this, that we are faced with regards to the uprise of populism around Afrophobia and xenophobia is particularly because of the mismanagement of the government, the failure of the Department of Home Affairs, and the economic disaster because there is no proper radical economic transformation in South Africa. This should not fall on the soldiers, on the shoulders of our SANDF soldiers. It is a matter that government has to address in a different way. So, Chair, I conclude. We need a proper understanding that these kind of deployments are not going to become common cause, and we need to get clarity about what is happening with regards to the funding and whether we are approving here today a deployment which ends on the 11th of July, which is 3 days away, or whether we approve the letter of the president which states that this deployment will continue until the 31st of July. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nihas. Honorable Munyai.
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity, Honorable Co-Chair. Firstly, I rise to support the constitutional and lawful employment of the South African National Defence Force under the Operation Prosper that is focused on immigration as authorized by the President and the Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency President Ramaphosa. The deployment, Honorable Chair, is firmly rooted in the Constitution of the Republic and the Defence Act. The President exercises his constitutional authority in terms of Section 201, subsection 2A of the Constitution, read together with Section 19 of the Defence Act, to authorize the employment of SANDF in cooperation with South African Police Services for the prevention and combating of crime and maintenance and preservation of law and order in the context of immigration. The deployment, Honorable Chair, further reflects the coordinated work of the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster and the National Joint Operation and Intelligence Structures, or the NET Joints, whose responsibility is to ensure that the government respond proactively to the emerging security threats through integrated planning and intelligence-led operation. Therefore, all this hullabaloo that the deployment is not intelligence-led has been clarified. The issue that is not extension of the already existing operation has been clarified. I know some will not agree with this decision, the critics, because the decision has been taken lawfully, but the executive authority, the commander-in-chief and the president, those that are opposed to this decision are some of them that are part of March and March. Some, during the middle of the dark hour of the night, they are anti-immigration. During the day, they are pro-immigration. So therefore, Chairperson, I must say that this decision, we must not forget, this meeting is about the letter. The briefing by General Sanguine was to give context in support of the letter by the president. So therefore, Chairperson, I rise that we must support this letter of the president. In fact, it's information to the joint committees. Because I'll be very surprised if we are to discuss the letter, whether it's late, whether it's early. It doesn't change the content.
Okay.
But let me come to the issue, Chair. Let me come to the issue that I really share with the Deputy Minister. The issue of the National Treasury. As the ANC were deeply concerned by a failure of the Treasury to timeously release funds for a constitutionally authorized military deployment. Once the president has lawfully exercised his constitutional authority to employ South African National Defence Force, every organ of the state has a corresponding constitutional duty to facilitate rather than to frustrate the execution of the decision of the president. And I think we are seeing the deliberate delays or administrative impediment by the National Treasury to compromise and authorize national security operation, and that risk undermining the state authority and the decision of the commander-in-chief, and the ability of the state to fulfill its foremost responsibility of protecting the republic, its people, and the critical infrastructure. National Treasury Chairperson should not assume a political posture on a decision that have already been lawfully taken by the executive in accordance with the Constitution. National security cannot allow to be held hostage by a bureaucracy of the National Treasury. That will tantamount to institutional overreach. The role of the National Treasury is to ensure sound public financial management, fiscal discipline and accountability, not to block the funds or the decision of government, especially taken by the head of the state. By the way, it is not to substitute the administrative functions of the constitutional executive authority or
As you
to
conclude,
assume.
Chair Binyayi.
I'm concluding, Honorable Chair. I'm just very disappointed because this decision must be aligned with financial support, Honorable Chair. So I must say, Honorable Chair, we must not get lost in the middle and wanting to get the issues of the key issue here is that We are required to note the letter and support such a letter of the executive. That is the principal purpose. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Gozel.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable-
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Gozel.
Thank you. Chair, yes, thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all the colleagues, and thank you for the presentation to the General. General, this deployment you said, although it is one that is considered to be placed on standby, so to speak, is still done in cooperation with the South African police services. Now, we were told in the briefing that we received prior to Operation Prosper that in these operations, the SAPS members operate on a 2-to-1 ratio to the SANDF. So I would like to know how many SAPS members were placed on standby alongside the 3,405 SANDF members, whether you were working on the same SAPS to SANDF ratio, and whether you consulted with the South African Police Services before this extension was announced. Because currently, even though we were assured as Parliament in March that there was a 2-to-1 ratio, I've been in a few areas now on the Cape Flats where the SANDF is deployed, and I'm yet to see a 2-to-1 ratio. But also, I would like to know, obviously, the question as to how many SAPS members would be deployed if you were to deploy 3,405 SANDF members. Then, yeah, the briefing states that the SANDF is placed on standby should the situation become, in your words, were dire and uncontrollable. Now, just last night, the Cape Flats saw a massive flare-up of gang violence. They're continuously experiencing sustained murders and gang violence, despite the fact that the army is currently deployed here. So I'd like to know whether you could just advise at the moment how many soldiers are deployed on the Cape Flats. And of course, that relates to whether when there is a deployment under this operation for March and March, how many would come to the Cape Flats over and above the amount that there already is? I think it was 800, but you could just perhaps clarify that. And then also, if the contingency that is available of 3,405, does that mean that once this current short request by the president has come to an end, that there are then 3,400 soldiers available to address the gang violence on the Cape Flats, which, as I say, is not currently under control? And then just a last question. So your briefing states that the SANDF remained on standby and would be activated should the situation become dire, but they've not been deployed, and a period has almost expired. It's a very short period of time. And in relation to the 823 million rand that was earmarked for Operation Prosper, can you perhaps be a little bit more, or give a little bit more detail of how you arrived at 54 million rand expenditure? I did hear what the Deputy Minister said at the start of the meeting, and whilst I want to understand the frustration, perhaps as a committee we can also just again ask the SANDF to consider their priorities while monies are tight. And in this case, I'm specifically referring to international travel and golf days, etc. And then lastly, General, I would like to know whether you can give us an assurance that should there be a deployment in the coming days for any reason, that our soldiers would not be subjected to the same dire conditions that they were put in when they were placed at 40 Kapa here in Cape Town. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Gotsan. Honorable Masumba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good evening, everyone. First of all, Chairperson, let me welcome both the letter from the President and also the briefing from the General. First of all, mine is to support the deployment of the soldiers into the operation, meaning that the deployment of soldiers by the President is a significant constitutional power that should be exercised only when necessary to protect national security, maintain peace, or respond to emergencies. Such decision must comply with the country's constitution and applicable laws, ensuring that military force is used responsibly, proportional, and with appropriate oversight. Transparent, accountable, and respect of human rights are essential to maintain public trust. It therefore means that the committee is supposed to come back as and when they are given a right in terms of the deployment and everything, at least to brief us early, because our problem here is that we are briefed very late in terms of the developments in the deployment. Not that we do not support the deployment, but the fact that remains that we are at the end recipients of these decisions that were taken. We're not against any decisions. In conclusion, Chairperson, President has a power to deploy soldiers is an important executive function, but it's not unlimited. It must be exercised in accordance with the Constitution in respect of the rule of law. So, Chairperson, all in all is that we support the deployment of the soldiers, but we also need to be clarified that this deployment, if the problem of much too much does not end on the 31st of July, what will happen? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Masumba. Honorable Kharig.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson. Good evening to you, Chairpersons, the General, and the colleagues, and as well as the administrative staff. Chairperson, this is a very important item. We confirm that we have read the item thoroughly, and we do understand the contents of this item. The issue here is that South Africa is governed by a constitutional democracy. And this constitutional democracy means a lot to each and every citizen in this country. It requires accountability inter alia. Now, when we question certain issues in any report, it does not mean, and I've said this time after time, that we oppose or that we are hostile. So I want to refute any notion that we are against the executive powers of the president and that we are opposed to the deployment of soldiers. This is simply not true. However, political parties represented in parliament have the right on behalf of the electorate to ask questions and critical questions, if you like. Now, one of the critical questions that we've raised here, and thank you to Honorable Niaus and Honorable Masumba that has just spoken, it's critical issues addressed by them. And thank you for the input of Deputy Minister Holomisa, because it's a critical issue that he has addressed. But we want to know, as the EFF, somebody must inform us. And if you don't have the answer tonight, you must write to us and to the committee so that we are furnished with such an answer. What constitutional dilemma or dilemma may it cause? In the long run, it has happened like this all the time. But in the long run, when this late signing of the deployments are being challenged in the court of law or in the constitutional court, what type of embarrassment may it cause? Because it's not about just for the signing of the deployment. It may hold some other consequences, not just for the soldiers, but for the country as a whole. and for this committee to make sure that that our country does not fall into that embarrassment, constitutional embarrassment. What should be done, those that will answer on this question, and what constitutional dilemma will it have for the country, and why is it that each time the president signs such an important deployment late? Why is it like this? And then if you look at the deployment letter, there's no reason whatsoever given, not even an apology for the late signature or signing of this type of deployment. This is an embarrassment to this committee and an embarrassment to South Africa at large. That's number one, Chairperson. Number two, I dare to say that it seems, and I'm going to support General Holomisa, to bring Treasury here. Remember that the EFF has long ago submitted such a motion in this committee to say, let us engage National Treasury. Even when the issue of the 1.5% increase was discussed, we said, bring Treasury here. But in between, there was a disruption or interruption where the president says we will give the army what they want, but without consultation with us, we cannot just condone or agree with Treasury. But it would appear that there are two centers of power in the National Treasury. And we need to get to the core of this thing so that we understand, because soldiers may not be embarrassed on the ground. They must get decent facilities. They must get decent wages and all those other perks that go with it so that they can serve South Africa. So the core question here, Chairperson, is what constitutional dilemma may it cause? It's because as much, just hear me out, as much as we are in a GNU, those GNU partners can turn around and challenge the processes from within government, and here we are at a huge embarrassment. So this is a question that we submit today. Furthermore, we have no objection when the president executes his power or exerts his power. However, his power, as Honorable Masumpa has said, it's not limitless. We cannot do this without scrutiny, without oversight, and without accountability. I so submit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Kharik. Honorable Pluggies.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, now I'm also rising to support the deployment and deployment letter. But Chair, I think it is important in the delayed briefings for us to get clarity questions. Mine will also be aligned to the 11th and the end of the month. What is the disparities there? What is happening? If I can just get clarities on that. And also, Chair, I really want to emphasize that the matter of Treasury not releasing the necessary funds to the department. I think as a committee, we should be able to do something about it. Maybe as already proposed that we have interaction with Treasury on the already strains that the underfunding of the military have already. It becomes more indictment on them as Treasury not to give them the necessary funds as a decision has been made by the executive and the commander-in-chief. And I think the Minister of Treasury is also serving in the executive. Therefore, is part of the decisions of the deployment. So it cannot be that Treasury is now withholding money from the department when it comes to payment. That is my submission, Chair. I support. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Pluggies. The Chair of the Portfolio Committee, Honorable Lukhete. Honorable Lukhete.
Thank you very much, Co-Chair. And let me stand on the protocol as appreciated by yourself to include both our deputy ministers, the honorable members, the support team from the Portfolio Committee. Chair, I think we must accept the letter of the president, accept it with the following reservations. That as a constitutional democracy, can we be loyal to the Constitution? Because Section 201 clearly prescribes how as this committee needs to take this particular matter. We accept it because we don't want to compromise national security. But we must be careful that we also are not reduced to constitutional delinquents once this particular matter can go to court, because for the fact that much on much has become very part of our societal fiber, it means at some stage they can take us to court and we'll be found wanting as constitutional delinquents as the portfolio committee, because we would not have done the work as prescribed by the constitution of the country. And if we are to be taken to court tomorrow, we can lose our case. Definitely, I have no doubt. I'm not a legal eagle, but I know that sometimes we are out of law. But the issue related to Treasury, I think in our next court as the Portfolio Committee, we have called in Treasury appropriations and SCOPA under one meetings. I think it will be before the end of August, the 25th or the 26th of August is the Portfolio Committee. I would propose that we make that meeting a joint meeting of Treasury, as all of us is the Joint Standing Committee, rather than only the Portfolio Committee of the National Assembly in those particular institutions. Because in our proposal, we are proposing that we have a full-time finance technical committee that will deal with letters of the president between Treasury, the Department of Defense, appropriations, and SCOPA, so that once we have approved like we do now, or once an application is to be done, that is done on time, because I just like Honorable Kharike and Masumba have said, the Constitution leads us in such acts because we deal with lives of people. If there was to be any life lost, whatever legal action that can be brought against us can necessarily put us into trouble, that even our dates are upside down, our procedure in terms of the Constitution is upside down. And so we have to be careful when we do our work. So I agree that we also look at the aspect of national security that is not compromised, because we have seen some of these marches are not innocent, they are violent, and some of them have characteristics of a color revolution that can bring civil disobedience and disrupt other lives. So as these portfolio committees, I agree that we can't allow the situation without approval of these particular letters. But let us, please, can the executive be advised that it's not a free meal. We want things to be followed in line with the procedure. And we also want a permanent solution, as raised by the Honorable Deputy Minister, related to the financial management of these deployments, because they also are not a free meal. We are the legislative arm that needs to hold the executive accountable. The president that is issuing letters, it's in the executive. The treasury that needs to issue finances, it's in the executive. We play oversight over them in terms of Section 55 of the Constitution. We can't listen to their stories and their bickering. They must tell us the truth. Why is there such a problem where soldiers' issues are raised in the Breg, issues are raised in 40 Kappa, a lot of things where deployments do not correlate with financial arms submissions. And that is the work of the executive. So I think we must exert our pressure as the legislative arm on them, because what they are saying is an excuse. The Treasury can't pay presidency on their deployments and their letters and that and that. It's a problem that does not belong to us. We must hold them accountable. I thank you, Chair, and support the letters.
Thank you, Chair of the Portfolio Committee. Before I hand over back to the Deputy Minister, I just want to indicate, honourable members, that with regard to delays of submission of the letters, we wrote a letter to the Speaker and the NCOP Chair regarding these delays, and we haven't yet received a response. But the matter is really in the hands of the presiding officers, as the Constitution says the President must inform Parliament. Therefore, we'll make a follow-up on this, honourable members. Minister, Deputy Minister, I think you have had what members have said here, and I hope that you have noted, the department has noted all the concerns, and they will address them. Minister, Deputy Minister, Minister?
Not much from my side, but I would like General Sangwen and his team to clarify some of the questions which I think are more administrative bangles here between the office of the president and the department. But I think let's give the general to respond formally to those queries. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. General, the platform is yours.
Thank you, Chairperson, and Deputy Ministers and Members of Parliament. We take note of the questions and concern. Chair, let me start from the position of the issue of the end date being 31st of July or what we presented. That is a fault for myself. I accept that I made a mistake, and as a soldier fall on his baton. So yeah, it's the mistake was with me when I was developing the presentation. The end date is on the 31st of July 2026. Maybe if it can interest, the reason of the mistake would be, when you're going to deploy at short notice and there are a lot of changes to the plan and improving. And then in my records, then there's this mistake that I hope the members of parliament will accept, but I accept also that yes, it is my fault and it will be attended to accordingly. A few questions maybe that I can attend to. Honorable Hetting said, where were soldiers deployed and successes? I would say the successes, we hope and expect that there'll be no successes in terms of tangible. The success that we wish to present and say it is a success will be if there's no need for the Defence Force to deploy. Like we say, it is a contingency, using a standby approach in case. And from the 30th, so far, we can say very few, one incident in Hillbrow and one incident in KZN Mpumalanga. We do believe that the success out of that is the deployment of the SANDF became a deterrence, might have been rather a deterrence. Then that's why there was no requirement for us to deploy. The police were able to handle the situation. And I hope and believe us as the SANDF and the members of parliament will appreciate that we didn't have to act. Furthermore, Chairperson, the financial aspects, we will refer to SANDF, who unfortunately is not available today to respond to it. The Deputy Minister clearly indicated these challenges. However, soldiering is a very unique environment. If and when as we have challenges, we cannot abandon our roles and responsibilities. Soldiers, as it is said, should soldier on, even if there's challenges and shortcomings. We are trained and we took a decision to be soldiers based on that. One will know that it's not an easy environment. Isizulu to socially failure endleleni. So we appreciate that the committees, the deputy minister raised it, and then the committees are indicating that they are trying everything to get the SANDF to be fully capacitated. But in the meantime, all the soldiers, we hope and believe that we will do as much as possible. We will soldier on. There was a question of where soldiers are deployed. We deployed across the country, all the provinces. And because it was not a deployment where we had time to prepare, we used the personnel that are in those units that are in the provinces. So yes, across the country, all areas were covered according to us. Maybe a bit of that I can say is that we with this one we applied the issue of different standby levels, where you look at the situation, where then you must release a bit, or where we may have to increase in terms of the standby levels. But we were ready. We are still ready, and we hope that there will be no need for the SANDF to deploy. But having been pronounced that we are available and ready, it did create a deterrence that we all should appreciate. Thank you, Chair. To you, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, General.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The meeting is back to your desk.
Thank you, General, Deputy Minister, and thank General Sangweni. General Sangweni, I think there are so many questions which were asked by members. I'm not sure whether you're able to cover all the issues which were raised here. But anyway, the questions which have not been answered, I would request that you answer that in writing. Because of time frame, time constraint, let me just check if members want to do some follow-ups. I see Honorable Nihas, do you want to do some follow-ups?
Yes, Chair. Just to get clarity.
And be short, Honorable.
I'll be very short, don't worry. Is Lieutenant General Sangweni saying to us that he made a mistake, that the 11th of July was the wrong date, and that he now tells us that the 54 million, etc., will cover the whole period up to the 31st of July? I just want him to confirm that unequivocally. And secondly, I didn't get any response. I don't know whether it's within his power to do so, or whether any of the rest of the team there, including the Deputy Minister, can answer. Is this money ultimately, as it comes from Treasury, going to come out of the 600 million that has been allocated with regards to this particular concern about the marches of March and those in their slipstream? Or are we talking about a totally different, separate allocation here for this odd 54 million rands? Those two things I would like to have clarity about. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Nihas. General Sangweni, can you answer the Honorable so that we will proceed with our meetings? General Sangweni.
Thank you, Chair. The 54 million is an allocation for this deployment. Is for this deployment, and I will say, Honorable House, I indicated that this will be forwarded to the Secretary of Defense in terms of how he's going to handle it. That it is well, let me say it's not in my domain. I will not be able to give the express detail. The plan there was that the SANDF will be here. I'll make sure that he provide feedback. But the 54 million is an allocation of this deployment up until the 31st of July. Because those we always say is estimate cost that will out of this period. Yeah, I hope I've covered a bit, but the rest, the Secretary of Defense will be able to give more detail, Chairperson.
Thank you, General. Honourable members, let me thank the Department of Defense and thank you, members, for the participation and engagement during these difficult moments. It is important that to ensure that accountability for all military deployments, especially the domestic deployment of the SANDF, we really assist with it by at all aspects. As was previously the case, the committee remains concerned by the delayed tabling of the presidential letters in Parliament. The matter has been raised with the presiding officers, and the committee awaits a response on the matter. We also highlight the need for Parliament to be promptly informed should there be any extension of this deployment. With the finalization of the report, the committee will fulfill its obligation in terms of the joint rules to consider the presidential notification relating to the employment of the SANDF. In doing so, the committee has noted the deployments and appreciate the briefing provided by the department on these matters. I wish honourable members to thank the Deputy Minister and the department for availing themselves within this short notice and for responding to the committee's questions. And Minister, the question which General is just mentioning here, that SANDF has to look into it, will await that, and I think the question will be properly be submitted in terms of in the context in which the members are asking. So without much, General Deputy Minister, we really appreciate and thank our senior officials of the department, General Zangweni, and all other senior members who are here, the support staff. We are going to request you, Minister, to release you. We need to proceed with our program. We appreciate your presence once again, and you are excused, Deputy Minister, including the department.
Thanks, Baba. Just to indicate I was present, Chair.
Oh, Deputy Minister, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Deputy Minister.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Other members, let's proceed. While we are giving development to leave the platform, let's proceed, members. Nandiba, is everybody out here? Can we proceed?
Yes, Chair.
Is everybody out?
Proceed, Chair.
We can proceed. Okay. Thank you, honorable members. Let's proceed, honorable members, with the consideration of the draft report on the presidential letter. I will hand over to our content advisor. Doc, can you deal with the report?
Good evening, Chair, and good evening to all members. Chair, I just want to check if my screen is visible on your side.
Yeah, it is visible.
All right, thank you, Chair, and good evening again to members. Chair, members, I think you're becoming more familiar with the process that we've instituted in this committee, and I think there's been significant progress by the committee in dealing with the presidential letters as and when we receive them. So sticking with the same format that we've used in the past, here is the draft report on the presidential letter of deployment of the SANDF in support of South African Police Service dated, and the report is dated 9 July. As in the past, the report is short and simply states that it is in alignment with Joint Rule 156.1 that requires this committee to report to the Houses of Parliament. Then we state the details of the letter that was considered today, letter dated 30 June, tabled in Parliament on 3 July, and simply stating that it complies with the requirements of the Constitution as well as the Defence Act, in that it supplies the committee with the following information around what the purpose of the deployment is, how many soldiers will be deployed, the period of deployment, and then the expected expenditure that is required to be reported in terms of the Defence Act. Then a brief section here, consideration of the employment letter. The committee considered the letter of employment during its meeting of 9 July 2026. The committee also received a high-level briefing on the deployment during the same meeting. During engagements, the committee made the following comments, and as always, we have the first comment, that is that the committee noted the employment. And then I tried to take some notes from the discussions. Suffice to say, members, this is a report to the Houses of Parliament, so this does not include, the aim here is not to capture all the discussions that will be captured by Nandipa in the minutes, but some high-level observations that came from your discussions that could be considered by yourselves for inclusion here is, secondly, that the committee requested assurance that troops were properly prepared and equipped for any deployment. The committee stressed that the internal deployment of the SANDF should remain the exception. The committee expressed the need to be informed promptly and in full detail should there be any extension of the employment letter or any related deployments. And lastly, the committee again highlighted the late submission of the deployment letter to Parliament. Perhaps this could be open for discussion, Chair, if members want to edit this or add specific aspects that needs to be reported to the Houses. But again, just to say that this is not a reflection of all the discussions, just some high-level extracts. Then lastly, in terms of recommendations, in compliance with Joint Rule 156.1 and after having considered the details of the deployment according to the presidential letter dated 30 June 2026, the committee notes the deployment and does not recommend the Houses of Parliament consider the amendment, substitution, or termination of the deployment. And then we propose that the report only be noted by the Houses, which may not necessarily require further debate by the Houses themselves. Thank you, Chair. I'll hand back to you for the consideration of the report.
Thank you very much, Doc. On members, there you are. Here we have the draft report, and I think we have gone through the report, and also the content advisor just indicated has just gone through the report. I will request members to entertain the report. I see once again the hand of Honorable Nihas. Honorable Nihas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Let me first of all thank Dr. Wilhelm Janse van Rensburg for a good draft report on this presidential letter. There's only one small issue which I would like to propose, and I'm open to discussion or even to be convinced that we don't change it. If we can go to the various recommendations, yes, there we have it. If we look at the third bullet point there, the committee stressed that the internal deployment of the SANDF should remain the exception. I would like it to be intensified a bit by saying the committee stressed that in terms of the provisions of the Constitution, the SANDF the internal deployment of the SANDF should remain the exception. That is the only proposal that I have, Chair. If there are no other proposals, but okay, I'll wait for that, then I would like to propose that we accept this report. I don't know if there are others, but that's for you to handle, Chair. Thank you.
There are others, yes. Honorable Harding? Honorable Harding?
Thank you, Chair. No, Chair, that's a minor change. I propose that we accept the report as presented here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Honorable Kharig?
Yeah, Chairperson, thanks. I'm actually covered by Honorable Niels, but and I do understand and I appreciate Dr. Janse van Rensburg for your report and for the high-level recommendations, so to speak. But Chair, I want to ask, and I feel very strong about this. This item is going to the houses now, and the item must be a true reflection of the deliberations of the committee. It's a matter of fact. I've made that point. I've put it softly to the general. He did not answer me. But at the moment when our soldiers are deployed without the authority and the signature of the president, they are acting unconstitutional. And for me, and I think it's just prudent that we address the issue that our deployments or employment must be subjected to the timelines of the Constitution or to the constitutional imperatives. It's important that we say that we send that message out, that we say that we do not act unconstitutionally, but that we act within the parameters of the Constitution and the deployments are within the parameters of the Constitution. It's a strong message that we send out in case we want to each other.
We must not normalize the militarization of our democracy.
Okay. Thanks, Honorable Kharig. Honorable Sumba?
What is Niels saying?
Oh, you're not finished, Honorable Kharig? Or are you still on the platform?
No, I'm done. I would love to hear the comments of the committee with regard to the constitutional imperatives in terms of which we deploy our soldiers, Chairperson. And I feel strong that it should be part of the recommendations also. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks. Honorable Masumba?
Thank you, Chairperson. I think I support the report as it is, and all the suggestions that are made. I fully support it. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Masumba. Honorable Chair of the PC, Honorable Lokete.
Thank you, Chair. In support of all the members who came before on the report, I think it's going to be important that we as an oversight authority, we must place it to the executive that the non-payments of letters, of mandates, or presidential directives are a matter of concern from our side, because the executive is playing serious jokes on their core function, because even if there was to be an attack to the country, they will be in charge of the war cabinet. And if by now, just by simple internal missions and deployments, they are failing to execute that authority of them as an executive, it's a matter that we must take up as both joint standing committees, because in case of war, what is going to happen if we struggle with finances now in times of peace? Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Honorable Lokete. On members, I will really as well fully support that. As a committee, we need to engage our executive, and I also support the view that we need to have a joint meeting with regard with the National Treasury and the Portfolio Committee. I think the Portfolio Committee on Finance and all committees which are involved in the appropriation and so on. And I will say, honorable members, I think there was a webinar where funding of the defense was discussed with the academics, and an official, a senior official, I think, who's dealing with the security cluster, made a presentation there, and I would implore honorable members to go and listen to that engagement, so that when we meet the Treasury, we know the position of these officials and honorable members. And I think that we'll consider that a joint engagement is important. We'll prioritize it, honorable members, in order to deal with the challenges of the defense force. Honorable members, let's go to the last item. Our apology for taking your time, but the last item, honorable members, is about Lekgotla.
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Have we properly had a proposer and a seconder for the report? Because it's not clear to me whether we have seconded the proposal and adopted the report.
There was the proposal to adopt the report, and I think many of the members who spoke here were really seconding the report. So the report is duly adopted, Honorable Nihas.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks a lot. And thanks for reminding us, so that we put it clear that the report is duly adopted. Honourable members, let's go to the last part, the last item. Will not take much of your time. It is about the Lekgotla, honourable members, which is on the 20th to the 22nd. And I'm also going to request Dr. Van Rensburg to brief us on the Lekgotla. Dr. Van Rensburg is part of the preparatory committee, honourable members. He's part of the preparatory committee, so he will brief us on the development of how the preparation have been done, and how we as members of the parliament will be involved will be participating in the Lekgotla. Doc, the platform is yours.
Thank you again, Chair. And members, I won't take too much time. We prepared a small document here, or I prepared a small document that I'll send to you afterwards. But there's some aspects that might require your input on the document before finalization, and that's why we didn't send it prior to this. But suffice to say, the members are aware of the industrial Lekgotla that's taking place from 20 to 22 July, and that members will be going. Just as an update, the application process is well advanced, but it's still in progress, and members will receive an update early next week as to where we stand. But there's been significant good progress in that regard. The Lekgotla itself is taking place over 3 days, and the aim of the Lekgotla is to provide a strategic convergence platform to diagnose structural challenges, identify critical interdependencies across the South African defence ecosystem, and define a rapidly implementable way forward. So that is the official aim of the Lekgotla, with an emphasis on this rapidly implementable recommendations and resolutions that they want to form from this Lekgotla. So the members' participation, our co-chair, Mr. Pala, made it clear that he wishes Parliament and the committee and members to play an active role in participating in this Lekgotla. So the way the Lekgotla has been shaped is that there will be 6 commissions focusing on different aspects, each commission focusing on a specific aspect related to the defense industry. And these 6 commissions will, during the Lekgotla, run concurrently. So it will be difficult, or it will not be possible for members to sit in on each and every of these commissions. And therefore, there's a proposal that the committee, as members voted during the on the WhatsApp group, most members indicated their areas of interest, and therefore we want to make this proposal in this table according to what members indicated. So on the left, we've got the 6 commissions that have been noted, And I know some members indicated interest in two areas, but I tried to, where there were less interest, try to move members around, and also some members didn't indicate where they wish to participate, so I placed them myself in certain commissions. So this we can it's going to be open for discussion after I'm done, Chair, and members can say if we require any changes. But for the Innovation Commission, there's we proposed Mr. Hala, Ms. Masumpa, and Mr. Munyai. The Localization Export Commission, Mr. Legoete and Mr. Noe. Strategic Assets and Participation Partnerships Commission, Mr. Pala and Mr. Shilembe. Financing Commission, Mr. Gigaba and Ms. Breed. Acquisition and Procurement Modernization Commission. There was significant interest in this commission, but members that indicated there would be Mr. Kubikele, Niaus, Hatting, and Mr. Plaikis. And then Capacity Building and Inclusivity, Ms. Nontenja, Mr. Tele, and Mr. Pala, you said you will decide on between those two. So this is the proposed division of members to participate in these various commissions. And there's another reason why we highlighted this here, which I will get to now. The proposed program that we received from the planning committee, not definitive, but just a high-level view, is that on each of the days there will be a plenary session, and the plenary session will then be followed by a breakaway to the various commissions. As members can see here, starting out, Chief SANDF, hopefully there, and CAO of AMD speaking, and then number 8 here on the first day, break into the commissions, finishing it by 4 o'clock. On the same day, it's next day, there's also a similar approach where we break into commissions after a plenary session. And the third day, then is reporting back from the various commissions to the plenary, where the final resolutions will then be tabled. So, members, it's really important. Participation in these commissions are really important for the committee to make recommendations to the commissions that can be found in the resolutions of the whole event. So the other reason why it's important, members, for your work, regarding your work in these commissions, is that there will be, over the next week, starting tomorrow, there will be, for each commission, there will be a virtual planning session. So we will post the links to these planning sessions in the group, or we will email it to members as well. And those members in those specific commissions and other members that are interested are welcome to join those workshops. The first one is starting tomorrow. So what we've done in this last table here is highlight the proposed activities for the committee over the next week and a half. So today we have an initial briefing on the Lekgotla and members' participation. That's what we are busy with now. Tomorrow morning, there's a virtual workshop for the Finance Commission. So members who are interested in the Finance Commission's work can join the virtual meeting tomorrow. On the 13th of July, there's an Acquisition and Procurement Commission virtual workshop. Then on the 14th of July, the Strategic Issues and Partnerships Commission. On the 15th of July, Localization and Exports Commission, also virtual. And on the 16th of July, an Innovation Commission. Then sorry, I just want to double check the date. On the 15th of July, the chairperson also made a proposal that the committee meet to receive a briefing by myself and Dr. Steenkamp Fonseca, as we are busy with a preparatory brief for members for the Lekgotla. So if we can have a session, that's the proposal, and for members' input as well, to have a quick session where the two of us can take you through a preparatory document where we will touch on some aspects of each of these commissions, and then also a broader overview of the defense industry and the role of Parliament, and so forth. So that's also proposed for the 15th of July. I will just highlight it here, and members can consider that one as well. Then the actual Lekgotla taking place from 20 to 22 July, where members will be participating. And I just mentioned it here. We will also mention it in our document that the two of us are preparing. But a key aspect that will take the committee forward is the identification of key parliamentary oversight areas. So this is also an opportunity for members to identify areas that they wish to oversee going forward regarding the defense industry and how it links to the Department of Defense. And then the proposal is that on the 7th of August, we adopt the Lekgotla participation report, and that in that report, we also include areas for future further oversight. So, Chair members, that is the outline for the next week. Suffice to say, the focus of the next week will be these various workshops, these virtual workshops, which members are encouraged to participate in. And then during the actual Lekgotla, there will be these commissions again, where members can again participate. But forming part of these workshops will also be very helpful. Chair, I'll hand back to you. There's some areas for discussion here to see if members are happy with this distribution. And then if there's also a discussion to be had on the meeting of the 15th of July to receive a briefing from myself and Dr. Steenkamp from SECA. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Doc. Honourable members, there you are. The outline of what is going to happen from tomorrow until the 22nd. Honourable members, I think it's important that as members of Parliament, as members of this committee, both committees, we participate in this and ensure that we turn things around on our members. We all understand the state of our industry. We understand, you know, the lack of you know, our sovereign capabilities and where we are in terms of those developments. So we'll really appreciate if members can participate and add value in what is happening. We should not just play an oversight role on members, but to participate and assist the department wherever is possible. So, honourable members, I'll hand over to you and hear your views with regard to what Doc has presented. I will start with I think Honourable Masumba, then Honourable Nihas, and Honourable Gerik. Let's start with you, Masumba, then Honourable Nihas and Gerik. Masumba.
Thank you, Chair.
Chairperson, apology, just on a point of information. Can I be excused from the meeting, please? I'm off to a memorial.
No, that's fine. That's fine, Honourable. Your excuse, Honourable Gerik.
Thank you, colleagues. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks. Honourable Masumba.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I accept the Innovation Commission that I'm part of. But the unfortunate part, Chairperson, I'll be out of the country from Sunday. I hope I'll get all the information on the emails. But I'll be back at the time of the Lekgotla. I wanted to make that apology official, Chairperson. Thank you.
But you're able to participate in the virtual engagement you're starting tomorrow?
Yes, Chair.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot.
Mine is on the 16th, if I check.
If you can just let's see the table, Doc. Let's see the last table. The last one. Masumba, in which committee are you? In which commission are you?
It's 16 July.
16 July.
Yes, I won't be around.
You won't be around. You'll be on your way to wherever you're going.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but please, you can attend any other commission which is starting tomorrow. Please just avail yourself so that you understand exactly what's been done until you are out of the country. Honourable Nihas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. To thank Dr. Willem Janse van Rensburg for this very good document that he's given us. Secondly, to ask whether through him we will be provided with the information about the various inputs that we can make on the dates as it is there in the report. So I suppose he will provide us through his good officers with the information and the links, because these are virtual meetings. And then thirdly, yes, I will be available to participate in the Acquisition and Procurement and Modernization Commission when that meeting takes place, where preparations take place. Thank you. And otherwise, I think it's a good report that we can accept. Thanks.
Thanks, Honorable Noah. Honorable Noah?
Chair, I was just asking about tomorrow. I didn't see the time. Remember, we have been deployed to go to Bloemfontein. Can that be clarified that it's not going to be any disturbance there?
Which commission starts tomorrow? Doc, can you let's just check the date. Tomorrow is the 9. Yeah, it's the 9.
Okay, tomorrow is the 10th. It's the finance workshop. I'm still awaiting the final link and the time, but today I think it was scheduled for 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. I will confirm and then paste it in the group. Chair and members, just to note, it would be great if members can attend these workshops, especially the ones where they will be involved. But it's not the end of the world if you can't attend, because there will be further opportunity to attend or to input during the actual Lekgotla in 2 weeks' time. But this would be a bonus.
Yeah, in preparation for the engagement, it will be a bonus. Honorable Priyat?
Thank you, Chairperson. No, Dr. Wilhelm has covered me, because I wanted to say I have also been deployed with the Honorable Noe tomorrow in Bloem, and I serve on that Finance Commission. So that would be a bit tricky for me. And also I have party matters that also require deadlines and me to be involved. But I will try my utmost. But if we can have that beforehand, I will try and multitask as I've been doing this whole day so far. It seems as if multitasking is my week's goal. But Chairperson, thank you so much. That's all I just wanted to contribute.
Thank you, Priyat. You must start multitasking. You must say it now. Yeah, honored members, let me not take much of your time, and appreciate your availing yourself up to this late moment. And honored members, I'll not take. I'll say really thanks a lot. Let's engage, honored members. If you've got time, please attend any of these. A commission starting from tomorrow, so that we understand exactly what the department is putting on the table. So without much ado, honored members, thank you very much, and I really appreciate your presence here, and the meeting stand adjourned.
Yeah, I have a hand up.
Oh, there's another hand.
Chair, sorry.
Sorry, Honorable Gozal, I didn't see your hand, sorry.
Yes, I couldn't help but hear that the colleagues are talking about being deployed to an oversight tomorrow.
Yes.
I don't have any information about an oversight tomorrow.
Oh no, that is not an oversight of the committee. We have requested members who are in the Free State to go to De Praag, to go and see exactly what are the challenges in De Praag. Now, due to time, we could not do this on the with the committee, but we requested the members who are in the Free State just to go there and tell us exactly what are the challenges there.
Well, Chair, I would like to note that I find this highly irregular. I don't think both myself and other members have said earlier in the week that we are prepared to urgently do an oversight. I myself have been to the Brug earlier this week, where I was lied to by one of the members, a Colonel Mola PC. I find it highly irregular that you would not engage this committee on an oversight of this importance, We all have flight entitlements. I have managed in one day to go to Bloemfontein from Cape Town, where I am from, and it was no problem. This is not the first time that this has happened. This happened with Fort Ikapa as well, and you know that. And subsequent to that oversight, you, in the name of this committee, issued a statement which was false. So I would like
Can
to
I rise on a
now,
point of
I'm
order?
speaking, Honorable Noe, and
Honorable
this
Noah,
matter
let's
is
give
not one that you are
Sure.
going to sweep under the rug again.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Kotel. Honorable Nihas?
Yeah, I asked to rise on a point of order.
Okay. Before that, Honorable Nihas, let's give Honorable Noah the platform. Honorable Noah?
Chair, I was just saying I'm not necessarily interfering with the right of Honorable Godsell to make some submission. However, I think this matter that he is raising is it's a sub judice matter because he has already raised it with the risk committee. Cannot raise it here and then we start engaging with it with respect. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but he will know that if a matter has already been raised with structures outside the committee, it cannot be then again be discussed at the level of the committee. I think that is just procedural. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Noah. Thank you for highlighting that. Honorable Nihas?
Chair, yes, I'm raising on exactly the same matter that the Honorable Godsell is raising. If you go back to what happened in the WhatsApp group, our WhatsApp group for the Joint Standing Committee, I made a formal proposal that we as a committee should have an oversight visit to De Brugge. To now be told that there had been somewhere in dark corners, because we don't know about it. It has not been discussed. In fact, we have not even been informed that there is now this meeting that's going to take place tomorrow at De Brugge by certain members of this Joint Standing Committee. We just have to hear it in passing. Is totally unacceptable. It is unprocedural. The economic freedom fighters and some of the other parties that are represented in this committee are now excluded from this oversight. We requested a formal oversight to go to De Brugge, and we requested that all the members of this committee should have a fair chance to avail themselves in order to be able to go. This is a critical matter, and the manner in which you handle this, Chair, is totally unprocedural, and it is going to lead to a complaint to the Speaker and also to the Chair of committees. You cannot operate like this. You've done it in the past, and now you do so again. It is unacceptable. We cannot have certain allocations, and then the words deployment of all things are being used. On what basis, Chair, do you deploy while you exclude other members? You don't even give us a chance to indicate whether we are prepared and able to participate in an oversight when we have made a request for a formal oversight, and that request had been posted on the WhatsApp group of the Joint Standing Committee. This is outrageous, Chair, and I want you to stop this immediately. If there are members who want to go to Bloemfontein and to De Brugge tomorrow, they don't go as deployees of this committee because we've not agreed to it, we've not discussed it. And I repeat my request. I repeat my request, Chair. We need a formal oversight meeting which allows all the members of this committee to participate, to go to De Brugge. This is a far too important and serious matter to deal with it in this underhand way in which you've handled this thing. I take the strongest exception on behalf of the EFF, and I understand why other members of this Joint Standing Committee on Defence will also take the strongest exception. Don't operate like this, Chair. You are outside your powers when you do so. Please stop it.
Thank you, honourable members. Thank you, honourable members. Honourable members, let's not engage on these matters. Yeah, the members are not deployed as that these are just individuals who want to go there to go and see exactly what's happening. But
you are rephrasing what you have said yourself earlier on a point of order. Don't mislead this committee. You are misleading the committee now. Earlier you used the words deployment. And you said the local people in the Free State are being deployed. Now suddenly you sing a different song. Don't mislead us. I take strong exception to what you are doing.
No. What I said the members who are in the Free State who are recruited to the prayer, we requested them to go there. They are not going as represent the committee. They are going there as individuals to go and check exactly what's happening. But the committee will have time to do this oversight. But this was just a concern about what was reported in the media. But the honourable members, we have heard you. We'll see how to deal with this matter going forward. Without much ado, honourable members, let me thank you and appreciate your presence
I'm
here.
sorry, I have a hand up, and you cannot say that we're not going to discuss this. This is a serious matter. When I arrived at the Brug on Sunday, I was informed that I cannot go in because no arrangement was made and because the portfolio committee would go there on Tuesday. Then the speaker had informed the media who had done an inquiry that members of parliament are allowed to do individual oversights. Yet I can assure you that if I had rocked up there again this week, they would not have let me in. So you are using the parliamentary channels to make a smaller group to go and make findings as you did in Fort Ekapa, and you are disallowing and not engaging this committee. You cannot also say that you're not going there as individual members. You are going as the members of this committee. So to say to this committee, let's not engage on this, we have to engage on this because this is the second time that you are acting in this manner, and it is irregular. It is highly irregular. So I would request that you make available to us, those who are now not able to get on the flight tomorrow morning, the same courtesy to go and do our own oversight. And that you also allow us to do our own report.
Thank you, honourable
order.
Honourable News.
Chair, you are out of order in the way you handled this matter, and I support to the request by the Honourable Gotzel that you will facilitate all other members of this joint standing committee to be able to go to the Brug and to do oversight. And Chair, I promise you there will be hell to raise, and I will make sure there is hell to raise. If there are people who are allowed to go tomorrow, and I get onto a flight in the next week, Monday or Tuesday, and I go to the Brug, and I'm being stopped like the Honourable Gotzel had been stopped to enter to the Brug and do an oversight visit. You are not going to exclude certain political parties from participation in oversight, which is exactly what you have achieved with this arrangement which you've made. Where you say it's just individual members going, no, you have formally requested certain members to go to the Brug tomorrow. And you are facilitating for them to be able to go to the Brug. The same courtesy will be extended to every single member of this committee. Otherwise, you are totally out of order. And I suggest that this matter is not just left here, that we need to have a proper and formal discussion as this joint standing committee about the manner in which you conduct yourself, the way you run this committee. This is not your own personal private spaza shop to run as you wish and to exclude certain members and to include others.
Once again,
And I want
Honorable
to put
Nihal,
it
you
on
are out
record,
of
Chair,
order.
that whatever report is coming out of the meeting tomorrow will not reflect until I have personally and other members of the EFF have been
Can I
to the
rise on a
desk
point of
and
order?
are able to report
Okay,
what
let's
our
give
observations are. You cannot
let's
act
give
on
him a
behalf
chance to.
of us in this manner, Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable Niehaus, I think he may be holding a different view and may have been irritated in how you handle this matter. I think we must still restrain ourselves and be matured enough. And where we find a mistake has been committed or an approach, I don't think we should be so much irritated as if, as he says, this is the chair is running a puzzle shop. I think he must withdraw those words because we are members of parliament here. We're engaging on a matter that resides on our responsibility. So if maybe somehow things have not been handled to the satisfaction of some members, it shouldn't be like then we become so vicious and attack as if something has been taken away from you. A proper proposal to say, Chair, we think the approach you took is not right. Can't we review it? Can't we handle it differently? Because I don't think the manner in which he's raising it, it is correct because he is now attacking the chairperson. He's becoming personal. And I don't think it's correct, Chair. He must withdraw the words of the chairperson is running the committee as though it's his spaza shop. Who is included in that spaza shop? You are including us. You are out of order, Honorable Niehaus. So restrain yourself, be respectful, so that you can be also respected. I thank you, Chair.
Okay,
I ask Honorable Niehaus to withdraw the words that he referred to the chairperson as if he's running a spaza shop. We cannot be addressed like that in the meeting.
Thank you, Honorable Nue. Honorable members, I really hear you and understand where you're coming from, all from your different angles. Let's leave this matter as it is. We'll see how to deal with it going forward. I appreciate all your your views, and I respect all your views. And what we are trying to do, we are trying to do everything in the best interest of all of us. But if that's how you see things, honourable members, we hear you, and I would not want us to extend this engagement because we would not reach any conclusion. With those few words, honourable members, let me once again thank you, and meeting is adjourned. Thanks a lot and good night.